Welcome to the University of Dundee Master of Education webinar. My name is Helen Sparopoulos. I'm the Admissions Manager at Stafford Global, and joining me this evening all the way from the UK is Dr. Marie. Good evening to you, Dr. Marie.
Good evening, Helen, and everybody watching this webinar. It's great to be with you tonight.
Okay, so I'm just looking on my right-hand side, and I can see that there are quite a lot of you that have joined us. There are quite a lot of you from the Middle East, but I do see a few also from Africa. So welcome this evening. What we are going to do this evening is I'm just going to briefly introduce you to Stafford. I'm then going to hand you over to Marie, who's going to take you through the Master of Education program. And right at the end of the presentation, you will have the opportunity to type out any questions that you'd like to ask Marie, or any administrative questions that you'd like to ask me, anything to do with your application. What I am going to be doing is just looking at these questions quite carefully, because a lot of these questions are very similar, if not identical. So I am going to try and group these questions together. So please do listen out for that very important question and answer. I'm now going to just start off the webinar very quickly. Who is Stafford Global? Okay, well, Stafford Associates, or Stafford Global, was established in 1993, and we are a resource center for distance learning education in the Middle East. And as I've said, we have also recently launched into Africa for this program, as well as in Canada. Now, we're currently the resource center for 5 UK universities, one of which is the University of Dundee. And we do offer a variety of programs, ranging from certificates to diplomas, bachelors, MBAs, right through until doctorates. So we really do have all the programs for your personal and your professional needs. Now, the mere fact that you're here with us this evening means that you have been in touch with one of our very experienced academic consultants. And our function here at Stafford is to assist you throughout your application process, and we do offer some administrative support as well as some academic support. Okay, so I'm now going to hand you over to Marie, and I will be joining you towards the end of the webinar. Over to you, Marie.
Thank you very much, Helen, for that introduction. So, welcome to the University of Dundee and the Master of Education programme. My name is Dr. Marie Beresford-Dey. I am a lecturer in education, primarily in the world of leadership on the MEd programme, but I'm also the academic lead for any students who are undertaking their studies via Stafford Associates. So a warm welcome to you. So starting off with why University of Dundee, to give you some information about us before I move on to the programme. So University of Dundee, who are we? We make a difference here and now in the real world. We encourage that cross-disciplinary exchange of thoughts and ideas and innovation through a variety of teaching methods and perspectives. We work to foster a partnership approach between students and staff, and actively seeking ways to cross boundaries and to encourage students to cross boundaries also. We encourage and support you to be transformative in your practice and your thinking, and make time to listen to, help and support you also. We recognise and respect differences, actively promoting inclusion and nurturing creativity and innovation. As a modern university, we focus our efforts on 3 key themes: improving social, cultural and physical well-being to develop innovative solutions to 21st century problems. We aim to transform lives. But why Dundee? As you can see from the listings there, we are frequently placed highly in the university rankings, which we are very proud of. We have substantial global reputation with students from over 150 countries around the world. So in addition, no matter where in the world you're studying from, we promote a real sense of community, and we feel that it's this that sets us apart. At Dundee, we can offer you a learning experience with one of the world's top universities. And during the course of your studies, we will offer you excellent teaching, learning, support and resources. So moving on to the MEd, the Master of Education. This is a professional development programme taken at level 11 on the Scottish qualification framework. So this means it is at master's level. But do note that although the MEd is recognised by the General Teaching Council for Scotland, the GTCS is not a teaching qualification. As different national governments have different prerequisites for teaching, you are advised to check with the relevant government or registering body of that country. Okay, moving on, just to give you a brief overview of the programme. We treat all students equally. So even though you will be studying at a distance, you still have some access to student support. We are an international recognised postgraduate qualification with education at its foci from early years right the way through to higher education, which is you have the opportunity for either part-time or fast-track study, and this does offer flexibility, all of which I'll be talking about shortly. So why study at master's level? There are several benefits to undertaking a master's degree. The first of those is that it deepens and broadens your knowledge through answering questions, seeking answers to those questions, and exploring the landscape from different perspectives, which then changes the way in which you perceive the world. Through this, you will develop a more inquiring, reflective, critical and innovative approach to your practice. Through undertaking the MEd, you will demonstrate your mastery of education, which of course can then be honed into a specialised area within education. And it enables you to develop transferable skills such as criticality, communication, use of technology and your organisational skills. Study at master's level enables you to improve your career prospects, which often leads to higher incomes, including professional progression into leadership and management roles. You also might wish to progress on to a doctoral study if you obtain the full MEd. Some countries consider teaching at master's level professional, so therefore you must obtain an MEd or equivalent to enable you to meet their professional requirements of those countries. So there's quite a number of reasons of why you should study a master's or a master's degree. So just moving in now into the MEd programme at the University of Dundee is a programme that brings together your theory, theory with your practices. It encourages you to draw on those experiences and align them with literature or vice versa. It enables you to question why we do certain things and whether there's any alternative ways where practice can be enhanced. It encourages you to strengthen your knowledge about global education through offering an opportunity to critically explore different perspectives of education from around the world, all of which help to develop or extend your confidence and enhance, as we say, your professional career. And as tutors, we are continuously seeing our students practice, being influenced by their learning at master's level, and this inevitably benefits the students and staff who you're working alongside also. Okay, to obtain the Master of Education, you'll need to complete 180 credits of study in any of the named awards that you see on the screen. The Award of Leading Learning and Teaching, which is highlighted in bold, is our generic award which provides subject flexibility. However, if you require a subject specialism, you can see that we have a number of options from educational leadership to childhood studies through to TESOL, English to speakers of other languages. So the new TESOL pathway is something that we're excited to introduce to you. The type of student who undertake this route is primarily suitable for new undergraduates and teachers of English with a little or with a few years experience in teaching. Could also be suitable for those who would like to become TESOL leaders in their institutions and pursue consultancy in charities, educational organisations, whether that's state or private schools or universities. So the main benefit for employability is the MEd TESOL programs that gives graduates a competitive advantage for English teaching positions at state or private schools. Okay, linked into those named awards, we have a range of optional modules. Each optional module enables you to carry out the study and assignment without being in a workplace environment, as long as you have relevant teaching experience to draw from. Each optional module is considered as a single credit module and are worth 30 credits. In addition, we also have 3 core modules, so reflecting upon practice and the research methods, which are also 30 credits. And we also have the dissertation module, which is a double credit module and is worth 60 credits. So the optional modules do link in with the named awards. And for that, to demonstrate how the named awards and modules link, you can see an example here or examples here, and we'll go into a little bit more detail into these shortly. So you can see that the generic Leading Learning and Teaching Award enables you to undertake any 2 optional modules, along with having flexibility at the dissertation stage. Whereas the named awards, not highlighted in bold, do require you to undertake specific modules, and the dissertation must also focus on that area relevant to the named award. So for example, if you wish to undertake a MEd in educational leadership, then you must undertake the leadership and organisational development module plus an optional module, and your dissertation must also reflect educational leadership. Okay, we also offer 3 International Baccalaureate awards, and for these awards, once you commence your studies at Dundee, you'll need to register directly with the IB, and we do provide guidance for this process. We also have a dedicated member of staff who will provide you with IB academic support. There is no additional assignments that are required for any of these IB awards, but you will be expected to underpin your writing with IB publications. Again, we'll provide you support for this. So the 3 awards that we offer are the Certificate in Leadership Practice, where here there's no prerequisite of IB experience required, but you are expected to undertake 2 specific modules for this. Moving on to that, we have the Advanced Certificate in Leadership Research, and we have 2 pathways depending on whether you have at least 3 years teaching experience in an IB school or not. And then finally, we have the Advanced Certificate in Learning and Teaching Research, and for this, the IB specify that you must have a minimum of 3 years teaching experience. Okay, so again, just to give a little bit more detail on an example of what this could look like. So this is for the full Master of Education programme, and this is a typical part-time route. So part-time means that you'll be studying approximately 15 hours per week. In the first year, assuming that there are no credit exemptions surrounding this application or this route through, in year one, you will undertake the Reflecting Upon Practice module, along with an optional module, and that gives you eligibility to exit the programme with a postgraduate certificate with 60 credits. Moving on to year two, which is the diploma year, you will then undertake your second optional module, plus the core module, research methods, and then finally the year three, which is the double credit module of the dissertation, and that allows you eligibility to exit with the MEd award, which is 180 credits. And at that point, as long as you have the 3 years teaching experience and you've underpinned your work with IB philosophies and publications, then you also have the potential for eligibility for the IB Teaching and Learning Research Award. Another example here is the MEd and the IB leadership, and this is again a typical part-time route through. And here, this is in year one for the Postgraduate Certificate Award, which also provides you eligibility for the IB Leadership Practice Award. Here we can see the 2 modules that are specific requirements for the IB, and for that you must undertake Leadership and Organisational Development and Reflecting Upon Leadership in the IB. Once you've done that, and that's for any student who either does or doesn't have IB experience, can undertake those modules. If you don't have those 3 years teaching experience, you must have those 2 modules before you are eligible for any of the IB Leadership Awards. Again, the diploma year, similar to previous example, you'll undertake an optional module, the second one, plus the research methods. And then finally, year 3 for the MEd that seals the MEd award, the dissertation. But again, this must have a leadership and IB focus to be able to be eligible for the Advanced IB Leadership Certificate. Again, the stages equate to year or semester depending on whether the student is undertaking part-time or fast-track route. The programme has options for fast-track or part-time, as I've already indicated, and the key difference here is that you double up the amount of work carried out in a semester for the fast-track route. So you would undertake a total of 60 credits in one semester, as opposed to the 30 credits for the part-time route. The fast-track option is a significant undertaking, and I strongly advise you to consider whether you have space to complete approximately 30 hours of study per week if you decide upon this route. However, if you do decide upon this option but then feel that it's too overwhelming, we can transfer you to the part-time route at the start of a semester. Equally, if you commence the part-time route but perhaps your circumstances change so that you feel that you're able to double up your study, then again we will be able to transfer you at certain points in the study. But you can see there that the notional study time doubles up. So the part-time route, we're looking at approximately 15 hours of study per week, and for the fast-track route we're looking at approximately 30 hours of study per week. Okay, we have optional workshops available for you. Now, the workshops are not mandatory, but are highly recommended. They are a fantastic opportunity to meet with other students as well as some of the tutors. It's a space for us to start building that sense of community that I mentioned earlier. The induction workshops will provide you with an opportunity to gain an understanding of the various mechanisms within the university's online platform and how to access the online learning, online library, and opportunities for the various support mechanisms. It'll also enable you to develop an understanding of critical reading, thinking and writing, all of which is required for master's level learning. Feedback is always excellent, and students find them very worthwhile and beneficial to their studies. So these are held virtually or locally in the UAE, and of course at the moment we are awaiting any guidance surrounding COVID-19 and what that may mean for the workshops. Okay, so the entry requirements onto the MEd programme for all routes, whether that's postgraduate certificate, diploma or the full MEd, is that you must have an undergraduate degree, and that can be within any discipline. If your undergraduate degree wasn't taught in English, the English language requirement is an academic IELTS of 6.5 or equivalent. So we do have the two routes through the workplace-based and the non-workplace-based. So educators who are currently working in a relevant setting, or those who have previously worked, had teaching experience. It's not necessarily current, but you must have enough experience in a relevant setting to enable you to carry out deep reflection. So what do our students say? We have a lot of positive feedback, and whether that is the support mechanisms, whether that is the academic team, we are here to support you. We want to see you be successful in your studies. And for any information about the tuition fees, please ask your academic consultant at Stafford Associates for a breakdown of the tuition fee and any possible instalment schemes. Application deadline, although it's the 13th of October, that comes around very quickly. We're almost into September already, so please do get your application into us as soon as possible. And on that note, I'd like to welcome Helen back for us to take any of your questions.
Okay, thank you so much. Very, very informative. Okay, so I can see that we've already received a question from James. One completes the Cambridge Starter program. Are there any credits for prior learning? Okay, for any prior learning, there is credit exemptions available up to 50% of the award that you're going for. So if you are aiming to obtain the postgraduate certificate, then we can accept up to 30 credits for credit exemption. If you are applying for the full MEd, which is 180 credits, we can accept up to 90 credits of credit exemption. If you are applying for credit exemption, please do ensure that you provide the information that we require to ensure that we can award the credit exemption. So any transcripts or any detail that you have in relation to your previous study for us to make that judgment. Absolutely, James. Marie's quite correct. Please ensure that you do get in touch with your academic consultant at Stafford, and they'll be able to advise you as to exactly what documents are required to be submitted. Ideally, if there are any learning outcomes, that would be great as well, because that would make Marie and her team job a lot easier. Okay. Good. All right. So, if I do not have a bachelor degree, will you be able to accept me? I do have quite a lot of years working experience in the education industry. The programme does require a bachelor's degree or equivalent. It's not something that we can accept on experience.
but what I would suggest is that you do talk to the team at Stafford Associates to see whether there's any top-up facility available to you or any alternative study options that's available to you.
Okay, good. And Samih, your question, will this be available to you? Yes, what I will do probably tomorrow is be emailing you the link to this particular webinar. So you're very welcome to review it at your leisure. Okay. All right, I have been looking at some of your specializations, and I like the TESOL specialization, which is something new for me. Can you please give me a bit of background about that? What would I need to actually apply for this specialization?
Okay, it's exciting to us as well because it's new to us here in Dundee. So we're very excited to be able to offer this opportunity to you. The requirements to enter the programme are the same as any other named awards. So again, an undergraduate degree and any relevant experience of a teaching background for you to draw from. We don't ask that you have background experience in TESOL necessarily. Of course, any previous background is always beneficial, but we provide you with that teaching. So it's the same entry requirements for the TESOL route as it is for any of the other routes on the MEd programme.
Okay, and Megan's question is, why would this course not qualify me for teacher status?
This is a professional development programme that really focuses on enhancing your professional development, as it says. We don't undertake any teaching certificates or teaching or observations, for example, within the classroom. We do suggest that you speak to the relevant governments or the ministries of education or registering bodies for your country that you're planning to teach in, because each area has different requirements for that. Here in the UK, the MEd programme wouldn't award you with a teaching licence, but please do check with the relevant countries.
Okay, and if I do exit with either a postgraduate certificate or postgraduate diploma, how much time lapse is there before I can complete a master's if I want to come back to the programme?
Okay, we have 5 years from exiting the programme to returning and still being able to use the work that you've already done, the credits that you've already gained within your studies. So up to 5 years. So we would hope that you would return within that time, keep the momentum going, keep the learning fresh.
Okay, and Samih's question is about making the program a lot shorter. And Samih, yes, there is what we call a fast track option. So please do get in touch with your academic consultant. They can give you some guidance on that as well. But Marie will actually advise you what really is entailed in doing a fast track option. How many hours should you be dedicating to the program?
Yes, it is, as I said in the presentation, it is quite an undertaking to carry out the master's degree as fast-track students. So what we suggest that the notional time given to this is 30 hours per week as a fast-track student. Now, some students may take slightly less than that, others may take slightly longer than that. But it is, if you think about your working week, whether you are full-time in work, whether you've got family commitments, whether you've got additional responsibilities within work, these are all the things that you need to take into account before making that decision. So I would always say to give you time if you are working at the moment and you do have other commitments, then do take the time to understand the learning rather than trying to push through quickly and causing a situation. But as I've already said, we can transfer you onto part-time routes if you do apply for the fast track and then find out that actually it is quite difficult or a challenge for you to undertake the amount of work that's required within that time scale. So there's manoeuvre once you're on the programme. It doesn't mean to say that it's fixed at that point.
Good, okay. I'm currently not teaching in an IB school, but I am interested in the IB certification. Will I be accepted and do this certification?
There's the route through with the IB where you can undertake the 2 IB modules in leadership, and that will award you with the certificate in leadership practice for the IB, and then from then on you can continue to work towards the advanced certificates in leadership, but it does have that leadership theme throughout. Alternatively, it may be that you take the leadership practice awards for the first 2 modules, but then decide not to go any further with the IB, and then you can switch or change your area of specialism. So again, there's lots of flexibility, and I think that's one of the benefits of this programme. It is the flexibility that is available to you, and which is why we keep emphasising that you do need to speak to the academic consultant who you're working with, because they'll be able to take your application on an individual basis and provide that advice.
Absolutely. You mentioned that there are some workshops which would be done virtually. Can you explain if this is really necessary, and what would be the benefit of actually attending these workshops?
Well, as I say, they're not mandatory, and everything is recorded and made available to you if it is held virtually. If it's a face-to-face workshop in country, then the recording isn't made available, but all the resources are. It's a long time to record, over 2 days. So, but it's looking like, with the situation that we have at the moment with the pandemic, it is looking like there's a strong possibility of these being recorded, these induction sessions. So on that note, they will be available to you. Now, the benefits are huge. So although they're not mandatory, I really do strongly advise because yes, you get to know your peers, and I say to start developing that sense of community. And when you are studying at a distance or online, that is really important to help with the motivation, to help with understanding, with that times when maybe you're struggling to understand a concept or something like that. But also to learn about the university, to understand all the different support mechanisms that are available to you, and the delivery options of the modules themselves. So there's a lot of learning within the induction sessions, and as much as we want to sometimes think, oh well, I'll go back and have a look at that at a later date, we find that students who do attend these at the time have a better understanding at the start of the programme than those who perhaps review these at a later date. But they'll always be there for you to dip in and out of.
Okay, and next question is basically for me. If you are currently not in our contractual region, then unfortunately we cannot facilitate your application. Okay, so what that would mean is that if you are not currently working and residing in the Middle East, or in Africa, or in Canada, or Far East, unfortunately, we cannot facilitate your application, and you would need to contact the university directly. Okay. If you're a little bit undecided about that, or you don't know who to contact, please feel free to email me. You can see my email address here on the screen. Please feel free to email me, and I will put you in touch with the correct person at the university that can assist you with your application. Okay. All right, and okay, this is interesting. I've actually been working in media at the moment, but I did have 2 to 3 years experience in a nursery school. Will I still be able to manage this program, especially if this was done quite a few years ago?
I think we would need to look at what you have been doing within the nursery school and what how long quite a few years ago actually is, because we want you to be able to succeed in this program when you undertake it. So we need to have a really good understanding of what you were doing within the nursery environment and just exactly how long ago that was. And again, you know, your academic consultant will be able to give some advice on that, and if you need any further advice, then we're always here to help you as well.
Absolutely. And just some advice from us as well is when you do send us a CV or any of your documentation, please ensure that your CV is quite detailed so that we can actually make a very informed assessment of your eligibility for the program. Okay. And very common questions that we get, Marie, is about the so there we go. It's about the graduation, and especially now in the current condition. How do I get my degree certificate, and will the degree certificate say online distance learning? Very common question that we get all the time.
It is indeed. I mean, if it's going to be one of the near graduations, then we will be holding virtual graduations. We hope that in due course that we'll be able to return to graduations here in Dundee physically again, but whichever way, they are a time for celebration. So whether that's virtual or here on the campus, then, you know, please do make sure that you celebrate these moments. So we certainly enjoy celebrating them with you. In terms of the degree certificates, then you will be posted, these will be posted out to you. On that note, I would make a very early plea that any details that we have of you on our records, please ensure that you keep them up to date, because without that, people move around, and without your current address, then we could be sending it somewhere where you're no longer residing. So a very early plea, whatever movements you make around the world, please keep your records up to date with the university, and then we can ensure that it gets to the right place.
Absolutely. And a question for me with regards to application. Yes, we are currently accepting applications. We do have a few places available. It's a very, very popular program. As Marie has mentioned, you can see a variety of specializations that are available. So it's a very, very popular program in the Middle East as well as in Africa. So I really do encourage you to try and submit all your application documents as soon as possible, so we can send it to the university for review and approval. Again, do get in touch with your academic consultant. They will be able to advise you as to what documents are required to be submitted. And your application process is very, very easy. Everything needs to be scanned and emailed to your academic consultant. Okay, so it's really quite a simple process. Okay. All right, so I've managed to group all the questions together, Marie. They were actually quite precise today, and I did manage to group them together. So thank you once again for attending, everyone. It was lovely having you with us. And again, it was lovely seeing you, Marie, and thank you so much for the webinar this evening. Have a very nice evening, everyone, and hope to see you at the next cohort.
Thank you very much, everyone. Take care now. Bye-bye.